The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
we are now about to witness the truth.
It's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
So last night when we shut off the cameras and stopped the live broadcast, I looked at my partner, my research assistant, and just reading the stories and discussing the stories of all of the things that Donald Trump is doing. Not even in the first 100 days, but in the first 3 days. You get this feeling of, I don't know the word. What is the feeling you get? You get overwhelmed. And I cut off the camera, and last night it dawned on me that we have to do more. We absolutely have to do more. I know we're doing a lot, but we've got to do more. Donald Trump is shaping up to be far worse than I ever imagined. And before somebody grabs hold of that statement and be like, oh, I told you so. No, go check my receipts. I said that we should expect Donald Trump to be disastrous, to be as racist as he ran, as bigoted as he ran. I've said that he was going to be everything that people hate about Hillary Clinton on steroids. Go check me for my receipts. But that doesn't, it's so far beyond that I told you so at this point. Donald Trump is trying to prove to us that he is as insane as our wildest imagination could have ever considered. And because of that, we have to do more. And when I said we, I'm talking about me, my show, us, the Progressive Army. We've got to do more because, you know, we kind of rest on this intersection of deep analytical conversations mixed in with, you know, just being black as we want to be, mixed in with having fun sometimes, mixed in with whatever our intersection is. But we're dealing with, and I forgot to, we're dealing with irrational people. And we're dealing with, actually, let me stop and back up. We're dealing with irrational people. Therefore, we cannot expend all of our energy trying to rationalize the irrational. Analyzing this shit isn't going to change it. Now, it's necessary for us to be logical and understand because that's just who we are. That's who I am. You know, I always want to get as deep, you know, the deeper meaning. But we're not fighting. We're not in that era anymore. We're literally at political war with the sitting president of the United States. Now, it doesn't take long for me to adjust and see the wins, right? This was only I wasn't here on Tuesday. Monday was his first day. Wednesday, I realized this dude is crazier than we could have imagined. And I imagined a lot. Donald Trump must be stopped. Not only Donald Trump must be stopped, but this version and the perversion of conservatism that people like Reince Priebus, Paul Ryan, and Steve Bannon want to impose. You talk about Sharia law. They have their own Judeo-Christian values that they want to impose on America, mixed in with their white nationalism, white supremacy, hatred, bigotry, xenophobia, anti-LGBTQ, anti-women, which probably, with the exception of the anti-xenophobia, might all be inside of the Judeo-Christian values. But I say that as a Christian, so I can say that. Donald Trump must be stopped. His agenda must be stopped. And last night we had a conversation of, can we stop it? I don't know, but damn it, we're going to try. We are going to fight in every way we possibly can, everything that we can imagine to do to beat back against Trump's onslaught, we must do. Everything from boycotting every single company that does business with Donald Trump. Yeah, Ben, but there's freedom of speech and all this other. No, we are not dealing with rational people. These are irrational times. These are the times that make men mad. But we are not dealing with people that we can simply sit back and say, oh, I'm going to hold to some type of intellectual superiority and logical superiority and moral superiority. I'm not going to do what they did to us, even if that means allowing them to oppress an entire portion of the American electorate. Not even America, not even just America, globally. I am almost to the point where by any means necessary, I'm almost to the point where I don't even care about the Russia jargon anymore. If that brings him down, I don't care. I won't personally participate in it, but I don't care because Donald Trump has to be stopped. And anyone who doesn't see that, you're not a friend of ours. You're not an ally of ours. Right? What are we talking about here? What are people doing? What are people still litigating Hillary Clinton for? What are, I get, I totally get that it's super frustrating to see them still attacking Bernie Sanders like this is the primaries. But, I look at those people who are still attacking Bernie Sanders like it's the primaries. I look at them and I think that they are, one, really pathetic. Two, I think that they're impotent in that they cannot fight anyone else but progressives. So I look at them and I realize I don't have a sense of pity for them in the sense of I feel sorry, but I pity them because they just are incompetent and can't fight anyone else but Bernie Sanders. Case in point, Donald Trump is ruining America and they're still trying to fight Bernie Sanders. So if I look at them that way, I'm looking at people who are still attacking Hillary Clinton, expending all this energy, relitigating, oh, well, Hillary Clinton did this, Hillary Clinton did that. When's the last time Hillary Clinton signed an executive order? We can't, we have to be, and I'm sorry, no, I'm not. Let me stop lying. I am not sorry. We have to do more. We don't have time. I was listening, my homeboy Carl Bear, from the Baltimore Post or Baltimore Sun. He tweeted this morning. He was talking about our elected officials, which I'll get to in a minute, because I have a problem with our elected officials, and if we have to oppose them in order to properly oppose Trump, let's do that. I'll be that person, right? But he was commenting on the fact of why our Democrats supporting Donald Trump's nominees. And one of the reasons, the justifications, one of the staff members of the Democrat Party gave was that they have fought this for the last 8 years and they don't want to become the same monsters that they were trying to beat in the Republican Party. Meanwhile, you are approving an agenda by a madman. So if we're going to resist, right? Fine. I'll use the language. If we're going to resist, we must resist and not pretend like this is business as usual, right? Business as usual would mean you would come to my show and I would try to break this apart logically, try to show you the logical fallacies, try to show you the hypocrisy, get a little riled up at the end, and boom, let's go home. That's business as usual. We're not dealing with business as usual anymore. Therefore, our elected Democrats who are supposed to be leading the resistance, you cannot pretend as though this is business as usual, meaning, oh, we'll approve some we won't approve. We'll give these really robust speeches only to turn around and vote for them. That's business as usual. And Donald Trump has shown you that he is not about business as usual. He's about getting the most nefarious portions of his campaign promise through within the first damn week, not the first 100 days. And we're still trying to litigate whether or not we should call the son of a bitch a liar. I'm sorry, my friends. You know, somebody has to be the bad guy. We need a whole lot of somebodies who are not afraid of logical fallacies, not afraid of being hypocritical, not afraid of getting their hands dirty to oppose someone who is irrational, is indifferent to all of your logic, indifferent to all of the hypocrisy, indifferent to how he looks, indifferent to who he hurts. And while we're sitting around navel gazing, trying to figure out who has the moral superiority because we are logically consistent, he's destroying America. He's destroying our relationships internationally. He's getting ready to destroy our economy. And we're sitting here comparing who has the best snark. And if at the end of this I become the monster or you become the monster that we have been opposing, then we'll fall on our own sword. We'll take care of ourselves after the fact. But the people who are not going to win this resistance are the people who are like, yeah, but I don't want to be the bad guy. That's fine. Get the hell out of the way. We'll be the bad guys. Reminds me of the story that Alfred was telling Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises. It says some men just want to see the world burn. Donald Trump doesn't necessarily want to see the world burn, but he's willing to burn the world down for his ego, which is just as dangerous. And some men just want to see the world burn, so you can't negotiate with them. You can't rationalize with them. You can't make them feel shame. You can't make them second guess themselves. All you can do is defeat them. So when I got off the air last night, I'm like, we have to do more. We have to do more than expose the illogical fallacies. I'm sorry, I didn't even finish the thought that I was talking about with Carl Bear. So Carl Bear said, in context of this staffer who was explaining why they would not just blanket oppose all of Trump's nominees, even though we just got out of them doing it. He said, this is a result of 8 years of Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart, who in many ways, and I love Jon Stewart, but this is true. Jon Stewart, who in many ways made liberals believe that the worst type of evil we are faced with is logical hypocrisy and fallacy. Like that's all we had over the last 8 years. All the last 8 years, it was, and not even before that, right? Even with the Iraq War, right? We had this greater and holier than thou, logically holier than thou attitude because, oh, we can identify what logical fallacy you are engaging in. Oh, you're being hypocritical. Oh, you're so dumb. Meanwhile, we've got Nazis running around America and we're busy trying to figure out, is it okay to call them Nazi or should we refer to them as the alt-right? We're dealing with irrational people in irrational times, and we've got to be willing to do more. Well, man, are you talking about punching Nazis? I don't give a damn. I'm going to rewind the tape every time I see a Nazi get punched. I don't care. I'm not condoning it, nor am I condemning it. I'm not going to waste time on it because we're wasting time on questions that don't matter, and they're effing taking over the world. We're sitting around wondering. NPR did an entire explainer on why they don't use the word lie. Meanwhile, they ran an expose today about how Donald Trump's immigration policies or ban on refugees is a result of security concerns. And no one knows more about security concerns than people who deal directly with ISIS. Do you see what they did there, right? They won't call him a liar, but they are giving credibility, lending credibility to Donald Trump's xenophobic foreign policy instead of even challenging it. Meanwhile, should we call him a liar? I'm not saying you've got to do this. You do whatever you want to do. What I'm saying is we don't have time anymore to worry about dotting our I's and crossing our T's with men who want to see the world burn. And I could say men and not have to say women and non-gender conforming people and try to be inclusive, because we're dealing with a bunch of white men who want to see the world burn. In exchange for either their ego like Donald Trump, or in exchange for policies that they believe in so ideologically so, like Paul Ryan, that they genuinely believe that they're going to be doing America a favor by gutting our safety nets. They really believe that the way we get America back working again is by getting rid of any type of handouts. Meanwhile, is it okay for us to consider Steve Bannon anti-Semitic even though he didn't want his children going to school with Jews? 857-600-0518 if you want to join the conversation. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and our question?
Hi, Ben. This is Vita. How are you?
I'm doing good, Vita. What's on your mind?
You're so on target. I am so tired. It is just ridiculous that these so-called Democrats, they're actually Republicans. We have to stop calling them Democrats and rewarding them, giving them carrots, giving them excuses for this and that. Umar was talking about this on the last show. He said, we don't want to insult them. We shouldn't insult them. You know what? We've been insulted. The black people have been insulted. I mean, for so long, it continues to this day, and then they want to be silent. Mm-hmm. I mean, from Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders, and our so-called liberal pundits and newscasters and writers and so-called journalists. They're supposed to be so smart and so intelligent and tell us that we need to have civics lessons. Those people don't know what the issues are. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just so pathetic. The intellectuals don't know what the damn issues are.
Right.
They don't know how to strategize. They don't use vocabulary words. They can't pick up on the words that they use. They didn't plan that. What Donald Trump did about the voting thing, when you talked about earlier today, this just continues from, if Bernie didn't call out Hillary when she did that primary and how the votes got lost and the things that they contribute to, they played a part in.
Yeah.
And that's how the stuff continues. When you sit there and be silent and tell them, we need to go have this march, you're going to go march on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just a new statue, a new mannequin in front. That's all it is. Because it's been going on from the time this country was built until we get the history right and stand on either the truth. Are you gonna fall? Because you can't keep on pretending as if everything is okay if we just do this, if we do identity politics, if we just focus on class. You don't even have to make no new policies. Let's go back and just correct the ones that's already on the damn books.
Thanks so much for the call, Vita. I call them institutionalists. The people who want you to just, let's not shake the boat too much because we want to respect the institutions. Like, I have people literally telling me, oh, Ben, but you got to respect the office of the presidency. The hell I do? For what? The motherfucker ain't... Shit. I got to get used to not cussing some because, but this dude has zero respect for anyone other than his ego. If the office of the presidency takes it on the chin because of Donald Trump, who the hell cares? But you have people who are so obsessed, and Hillary Clinton is one, Bernie Sanders, in the way that Vita you just described, he did too, because he didn't want to rock the boat after the primaries. I get it. I got it at that time, but we don't, at this point, it's all a detriment. It's all contributed. Barack Obama, standing on stage helping Donald Trump. Like, if I wonder if they knew. Here's a litmus test that we can never give. If they knew Donald Trump in the first 3 days was going to fundamentally reshape what America is, Would they have all just gone and passed the baton to him like everything is hunky-dory? Hillary Clinton was there too. Bush was, all of them, right? Would they just, everything's hunky-dory, let's just keep the institution sacrosanct? Somebody hit me on Twitter, said, you should show the office of the presidency a little respect. Well, no, sorry. Go somewhere else for that. Why sit around and show respect to a man who is, and it's not just him, right? I don't want anyone to get this in your mind that if we just got rid of Trump, if Trump was impeached, this would be better. No, this is Trump. Trump is simply the out loud, proud, racist bigot on top of the very detrimental policies of people like Steve Bannon, Reince Priebus, and Paul Ryan. Their policies, those are the things like a report came out today that it's not Trump writing these executive orders. It's actually Steve Bannon. And so it's not just Trump. It's the entire damn machine. I'm going to have to go out here and tell some people to shut the hell up. All right, let's take another call. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question? Hang on one second. Go for it.
Hey, guy, how's it going?
Going all right. Who am I speaking with? This is Umar?
Yes, yeah.
Hey, what's
because
happening?
I'm like, you're giving me a big happy here. I'm sorry. I like, this is what I'm talking about. Because what I'm saying, all right.
Umar, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to do me a solid. I need you to talk until I get back because I got to go outside and cuss some people out. They're too loud. I hear them in my microphone. Talk to my audience because I agree with you already.
I can do that.
All right, go for it.
Okay. When I was talking about boycott, I was talking about that as one of the tools. There are many in our box. The first tool is, let's call a monster a monster. For example, the same people you know as the Tea Party, let's start where they began. Remember the Dixie Chicks? Remember the Dixie Chicks went to England and was performing, and in the middle of performance, they got up and said something that was absolutely right, maybe, if you agree or disagree, but I happen to agree with what they said. They got punished hard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just had a woman named Stacey Dash get fired from Fox.
Right.
Now, here goes the first thing you do. Solidify the message. She should be boycotted everywhere. If someone hires her, we start calling sponsors.
Yep.
No, we don't want this woman on the show. She offends us. Findings. Don't say it directly. Do what the Republicans do. Our religion is against a person like Stacey Dash who posed nude one day. Anything, but
right.
Let it be known. When you do that, you get punished. Let the message be clear. The problem is that like I said when I first called you, we're nice and we're examining, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, we're dealing with monsters. These YouTube people are monsters. These Trump people are monsters. Yeah. They are going along with, because I agree, Trump is a fraud. He did that to win the election, but he did it to excite evil, not people with a different opinion.
Right.
Because sexism hurts people. So when you say difference of opinion, you say, maybe this is how I think it should be handled. But when you say, we think rapists should be let go, or if you're married, you should break away. No, that is not a difference of opinion. You're a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're going to tell black people how to run their movements and you don't do nothing for us, or you say, I'm an atheist, and here goes how religion persecutes us. But women aren't persecuted, and black people aren't. You're a monster.
Yeah.
You're contradictory, just like y'all are saying. It's not enough to throw away the Democrats. We got to walk in there and say, as a unit, you are a monster, and that's how the Tea Party did it. Even when they look at the record, they look. I'm gonna do an article for y'all. They lost so much in the beginning, but they never stepped off message. And now look at them; they're all up in because we're dealing with Nazis, Republicans, conservatives, Tea Party. My God,
the whole shebang.
A unit of hell.
Yeah.
And we are afraid to say, this is why I'm saying that I get what you mean by it's deeper than racism, but that's what people understand. That's what the Joe in the street understand. Yeah. So you're not hammering the racism point. You're hammering like they hammered Obama. Now, I disagree with Obama, but to listen to them say, don't joke about Trump's kid. What? After what y'all did to those two little girls for 8 years?
Yeah. Come on.
Screw you.
Like we're tying our hands. We're tying our hands. We're trying to fight. We're trying to win a fight with people who are street brawlers, willing to break bottles and gut us right in front of us. And we're trying to win the fight, not only with hands behind our back, but by being polite. Like, This is not.
Yeah,
We're just setting ourselves up for failure.
And that Black Lives Matter thing. Oh, well, this is what they meant. What's the audience here was? So I would have been like, so what? They said it. You killed Sandra Bland. You killed a 12-year-old child. You're mad at us for saying pigs in a blanket? Fuck you. It's time for that. I'm sorry.
Hey.
We can't play games with this anymore. These are monsters. Real monsters.
Yeah.
Evil. This is Lord of the Rings. This is Endor. The fucking eye is up there, and it's going to kill people. And it's about to start. And if we don't get up off our butts, when I say don't, I say go to the marches and recruit. Start hanging out with people.
Right.
Hey, that's our organization. Give us a call. Come on. Yeah. Recruit.
Yeah.
Stop saying the march is not enough. Yes, I know, but I agree with Nick about Bernie. When he attracts people, get in that crowd.
Use it.
Here you go. Listen.
Exactly.
When shit goes bad, call us.
Exactly. This is what I said. This is Umar. Listen, and here's the deal. Like full transparency. I listen to my audience almost as much as you guys listen to me. Right? We have this hybrid relationship, and I was feeling this yesterday. But it was a point of exasperation. You don't really know what you don't know until somebody calls it out. And you said it. You said it on the show. It was like, whatever we do, we got to do something. We can't be defeated and just analyze the problem. Time out for that. We got to have all hands on deck. And I agree with you. If Bernie Sanders is a problem, so what? Let Bernie Sanders bring the rally. You go out there and collect the email addresses. If you don't like somebody, if you don't like a particular organization that's organizing, so what? Go to their rally and capitalize on it and do your thing. But for the love of God, do something, because we're not dealing with rational people. We're dealing with people who would rather see the world burned than to capitulate on the smallest thing of basic decency. They revel in the fact, like you said, that they are monsters, and they love that shit. Umar, thank you, man. Thank you for the call, and thank you. 857-600-0518 is the number to call. So you guys can't hear them. That's good. I'll leave it there. I see the call. The lines are lighting up. I've got some stories to cover, but I think this is important. Go ahead, caller. You're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and our question? 818, you're live.
Hey, Ben, this is Steve in Washington.
Steve, what's up,
first,
man?
I love your passion, and if you're feeling overwhelmed or if you feel like you're not doing enough, as a listener, I don't feel that way, and I really appreciate the work you do with Progressive Army and with your show, so I want you to keep that up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the other thing is, I noticed that there's a lot of people that were fighting for something during the Obama administration. So we were fighting for with Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter and Dakota Access Pipeline and climate change. And I don't think any of that stuff should go away or stop because Trump is in office. I think to help the left and to help progressives keep from being overwhelmed, we need to keep fighting for something and not just against Trump. And that's going to be even harder because we have to protect the gains, even as small as they are, that we've made in the last 8 years. But we have to be for something. Like I was at the marches after the inauguration, and it was good to be there because people were standing together for something. Maybe it wasn't, all inclusive, but it was just standing for something, and it felt good to be surrounded by people and with people that were fighting for something. And I don't know, I just think that that's what will help us all to keep going and fighting for all those things. So I just wanted to share that again.
Thanks for that call, man. I appreciate it. 857-600-0518. If you want to join the conversation, I think it's important for us to fight for something, but we also, and I agree with you, right? There are issue by issue by issue, and everyone is not in the fight to fight. Everybody is mobilized for different reasons, right? So if you need, hell, there's plenty to mobilize around, right? The North Dakota Access Pipeline, the LGBT rights, because those are under attack again. Birth control is under attack, right? The stuff that was solved, that was at least put in proper motion a generation ago, right? There's plenty of things to actually fight for. And I want you guys to go out there and fight for them. I'm going to fight against Trump. Trump must be stopped. Paul Ryan, Paul Ryan must be stopped because he's willing to let the world endure the man-child behavior of Donald Trump just so that he can usher in his fantasies of an Ayn Rand world. That's what he doesn't care. He's willing to be Trump's bitch just in order to get what he wants economically. So Paul Ryan, and this is what we have to do, right? We have to hit them where it hurts. For Donald Trump, it's his pocketbook. Ivanka Trump, it's her pocketbook. It's their money. Hit them where it hurts. Anybody doing business with the Trumps does not deserve to have your business, period. And then politicians, hit them where it hurts. Make them lose their seats. Make them lose their sponsors. Make them lose the people who are donating to them. Don't support the businesses that are donating to them. There's a list out there of every person, every politician who's taken money, corporate money. Don't do business with those companies. It's time for us to hit them where it hurts on every level. Not just an economic boycott, but also a political movement. You have 100,000 people marching, gather those email addresses and make them angry. Because we've got plenty to be angry about. Just in the first 3 days of Trump, we had plenty to fight back against, to fight for, and to stand against. So we're not fear mongering. We're just letting people know shit has already hit the fan in the first 3 days. What are we going to do? Sit around and be nice so that we can have the moral superiority? Yeah, no, not really. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, Ben, this is me, Bryce.
Bryce, what's up, dude?
Obviously, it's a lot that's going on. I remember we talked about the whole midlife crisis with progressives when it comes to, you got, of course, I understand how, of course, Nick feels, Brandon feels, Anoa, Jimmy Dore, others feel, Sam Cedar, a lot of people, and all of it. And, it's like a back and forth of, okay, we got to pounce on the Democrats, we got to pounce on the Obama mistakes, we got to pounce on all these issues. And I tremendously understand and respect all of that. And as a progressive, I tremendously understand it's important. But it's hard to say this. I think it's time that we have to kind of we're not letting nobody off the hook, but we're just pushing it to the side so we can make sure that this man doesn't blow up the whole world. We gotta fight, and we gotta do what we have to do. We gotta push aside some things just for a few minutes because Hillary not in the picture no more.
Yep.
Obama not in the picture no more.
No.
It's Trump.
Yep.
We got to deal with this. And it's not about fear-mongering or getting caught up in any nonsense. And, we'll see what Congress does. We'll see if there's going to be any bite back or whatever, or they'll try to impeach him, whatever.
Yep.
I understand all that. It's not about fear-mongering. It's just that the stuff that he's doing is going to not only fuck up the country, but it's just going to collapse. That's just stone cold facts. And I think that we need to just try to save, in the sense of a democracy, even though we're technically really a republic, trying to get to a democracy in the sense, especially as progressives. But we need to stop the nonsense that's going on with this administration, get it under control, get it out of there, and then do everything else that we have to do. Yeah. Yes, we still got to be hard on what we got to be hard on, but we got to do what we have to do because we can't allow these things to continue.
Well, Bryce, I agree with you. I probably agree with you at about a 80% level. Here's where I disagree with you. No. Let me start where I agree. I agree with you because some of it's not petty. I'm not going to regard it as petty, but I don't have time. I don't have time for the Sarah Albrights, whatever the hell her name is, of the world. Sally Albright. I don't have time for that. I don't have this time for these petite these I was going to say petite bourgeois, but actually they're just kind of irrelevant actors who are there trying to increase their notoriety by relitigating the primaries. I don't have time for it on the neoliberal side, and I don't have time for it on the progressive side. I don't have time if your initial approach is to say, oh, but if it was Hillary Clinton, it would have been just as bad. Really? Is that what we're still going with? Okay. I want you to think about that question, right? I want you to think about that statement. Like, we're getting ready to blow up the deal with Iran expressly so that they can have another war, right? Yeah, we're getting ready to get into a trade war with Mexico. Our number one or number two trade partner. We're getting ready to get into trade war, all for the ego of Donald Trump. Right? So I don't have time to litigate these issues on, and I think this is what the caller was saying, like on within progressivism. Not right now. I can I'll put a pin here, and I'll see you in about 3 years when it's time for us to run some primaries, right? Because in the meantime, we got Donald Trump, who is literally willing to see the world burn for his ego. And we have people like Paul Ryan, whose entire fantasy is to be able to strip the government of having any capacity to help anyone who doesn't already have. This is the world that they are willing to build on our backs. So from that perspective, I agree with you, caller, with Bryce. I agree with you. Now, here's where I disagree with you. If we have leaders who are not up to the task of resisting and resisting for real, they got to go too. If you're only resisting with flowery speeches and then you turn around and vote for somebody who supports, and at this point, we're talking about the entire Democratic Senate, right, including Bernie Sanders, right? At this point, we're talking about all of them. Like, you have all these powerful speeches, but then you turn around and vote for Ben Carson. A caller asked me about this on Monday or Wednesday, I forget what day, and I really was not ready to have that conversation yet. But yeah, at this point, if you are not going to actually lead the resistance, we don't need you. We don't need you, and we don't want you. So yeah, if I have to oppose you in order to properly oppose Donald Trump, if I got to steamroll over your ass just to get to Donald Trump, then by all means. If you're sitting around telling us to be respectful to the office, and you're telling us to, don't be angry, and you're telling us to moderate our tone, I'm going to tell you to kiss my ass and get the hell out the way. So I agree with you up until the point where they are an impediment to the resistance. Hell, they even got me reconsidering Keith. Donald Trump is so fucking crazy. He's got me reconsidering Keith Olbermann. As crazy as that man has become, as propagandistic as he has become, what I'm going to do, sit around and complain about propaganda while Donald Trump is engaging in silencing the media? I mean, you see, here's the problem. Donald Trump has had the opposite effect. I think people thought Donald Trump was going to come in and unify people around progressivism. Nah, Donald Trump has come in, and in the first 3 days, 3 full days of the work week, or 4 days now, in the first 4 days, he has become so wild that we actually take a step back and say, maybe Hillary wasn't that bad. I mean, this is how bad Donald Trump is. And then you still have those purists who are like, oh no, Hillary would have been just as bad. Yeah, okay. See me by Monday. See if you're saying the same thing by Monday, not in 2 years, by Monday. And this does not absolve any of the neoliberals of their issues. It doesn't absolve any of them. It doesn't absolve Obama. It doesn't absolve anybody. But you know what? You got to be able to fight the fight that's on hand right now. And we thought this was going to be somehow, and Democrats thought this too, that this was going to be somewhat business as usual. This was going to be somewhat Donald Trump comes in and he's going to get his agenda across. He's going to do some legislative actions. He's going to screw America, right? We figured that much. He was going to screw progressivism. We figured that much. Little did we know that he was going to come in and as much as he possibly could, censor and silence and just completely have a blackout. I mean, just completely obliterate every notion we have of freedom of the press, or at least he's trying to the extent that he can actually get it done. The very first thing Donald Trump did Saturday morning after the inauguration was to call the National Park Service. I believe this is according to the Washington Post. Call the National Park Service and force them and say, find me pictures of the crowd to support what I'm saying. and to come down hard on them for putting out pictures that were not complimentary to his what he visioned the crowd to be. For the sake of his ego, this man is willing to watch the Constitution burn. And he's got a bunch of yes men around him, spineless, backboneless, yellow-bellied, opportunistic, but mainly bitch babyish men around him who are too afraid to lose their money and lose their job, so they're willing to say yes to anything he says. Yeah, but Hillary Clinton was going to still bomb. Yeah, so Donald Trump is bombing them and then banning them from coming to the United States. Like all these people who are saying, yeah, but what has Hillary Clinton signed? Now, she can stay gone off the political record. I don't really care to see her ever again in the politics of America, right? But using her as a way of giving cover to what Donald Trump is doing, I consider you as much an enemy of the state as I consider Donald Trump. All that but and shit, have you looked at the list of executive orders that he's signed since Monday? No, I'm sorry, since Friday. Have you taken a look at all the ways he has directly lied to the American public, right? Have you taken a look at all the ways he's trying to silence the press? We'll talk about Steve Bannon in a second. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Ben, it's David. Just wanted to, I know you got a couple of big stories. I don't want to take too much time, but I wanted to make 2 points. One, what you said earlier about people criticizing you and saying to have some respect for the office of the presidency, I would direct anyone saying that to suggest that to Trump himself, because he's shitting on the office of the presidency right now.
Good shit. That's true. Good shit there.
That's one. The second thing is, I want to thank you and I want to thank our viewers for listening, mainly because a while back when I first started watching, you said that the show, you viewed the show as a way for everyone to gather and kind of have
mobilize.
This larger discussion.
Yeah.
And I think that it does that. It really does, but at the same time, it can't end at watching the show.
Right.
So I think we have to realize that, coming together to, sort of calibrate and make sure that we're on the same page is the starting point.
Right.
But we have to go and do our own things to actually talk to people, educate people, make sure people are tuned in. It can't just be tweeting and Facebook posting and then sharing the Benjamin Dixon Show or Progressive.
Well, we still want you to share the Benjamin Dixon Show. Still share it, but then get to work.
No, but I'm saying it can't stop there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Absolutely. Thanks, David. That's a great point. Anybody who tells you to show some respect for the office of the presidency, tell them to tell Donald Trump to show some respect for the office of the presidency first, and then we can have a damn conversation. I can't agree with you more, man. Thanks for the call. So let me just give you a couple examples of the stuff that's going on, right? So Germany has scrapped a law that bans insulting foreign leaders. They actually had this on the books in Germany, right? So previously it was illegal to insult foreign heads of state. And heads of states were able to sue you if you said something about them. And so this is what happened in Germany. Germany, they rolled that law back. So starting on January 1st, 2018, it will no longer be a crime to insult foreign leaders. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, Republican congressman, local Republican, state level congressman is proposing legislation that will ban people from being able to yell at lawmakers, according to Salon.com. So in response to a video where protesters were shouting at South Carolina Governor McCrory, you had a North Carolina legislator who proposed legislation to make it a crime, quote, make it a crime to threaten, intimidate, or retaliate against a present or former North Carolina official in the course of or on account of the performance of his or her duties. Now, it's already a crime to threaten, right? It's already a crime. So let's not let their jargon confuse us, right? It's already a crime to threaten any elected official. So this is not a law that's necessary. This is a law that is already exists, but he's adding on top of it to intimidate, yelling, right? This act of protesting with your voice. They're trying to make it illegal in North Carolina. Now, will it pass? It may pass. It may get signed into law. It's going to be overturned constitutionally by the Supreme Court if we have a reasonable replacement for Scalia. It will be overturned. But that doesn't mean that there's not a huge gap between the time the law passes and the time it's actually overturned, where people are going to be arrested for yelling at elected officials. This is so on two levels. Just want to juxtapose where the world is going, leaving America behind, and where America is going on the heels of conservatism, right? This is not, and also I want you to be sure, this is not just Donald Trump. Don't be fooled into thinking this is just Donald Trump. The first caller, Vita, said this is America. This is a huge portion of America that wants this. And so while the rest of the world is moving into more freedoms, America in different areas of different parts of the country, and with Steve Bannon in the White House threatening reporters, it's going in the opposite direction. You had five or six reporters, journalists, who were arrested and charged with felonies because of their coverage of, because they were goaded together, collected together, and arrested together with the rioters, but they were covering it as journalists at the inauguration. And now they're facing felony charges, in addition to what's going on in North Carolina. So it's clearly an affront to it. It's more than just an affront to our liberties and speech. It's an affront to our liberties and speech because they are so sensitive. They're such little special snowflakes. They can't handle people calling them what they are. They want to be able to do these things while we are forced to be silent through the force of law. It's not enough for them to pass policies. They don't want to be bothered by your protest against the policies. That's just North Carolina, right? So Steve Bannon in a New York Times interview today said that, quote, this is a quote from the New York Times. In an interview with the New York Times, Steve Bannon, chief White House strategist, dubbed the media the opposition party of the Trump administration. He said, quote, the media should be embarrassed and humiliated and keep its mouth shut and just listen for a while. I want you to quote this. The media here is the opposition party. They don't understand this country. They still don't understand why Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Okay. I want you to okay. He wants to make sure that we, he wants to make sure that we understand. He wants us to quote him on it. Steve, you have no fucking idea the shitstorm that's coming your way and Donald Trump's way for the next 4 years. You have no idea, right? Because granted, we can't stop your administration from passing laws, right? From proposing and passing laws with the help of Congress. But likewise, you cannot stop us from letting the world know just how big of a piece of shit you are. Because if that's all we have left, if all we have left is just to expose how tiny your manhood really is, and in comparison to how big your ego is, and you just want us to shut up, right? Or I mean, it's going to be neither nor, right? We're not going to shut up. We're not going to stop insulting you because you deserve the insults, but we're also going to not stop exposing you to America, you and Donald Trump to America every single day. You have no. And this goes, forget you, Steve, this goes to the fundamental flaw and the number one way that we can destroy the Trump administration. Yes, destroy it, because he's trying to destroy us. He's trying to destroy America. So why should we play tiddlywinks with them and be nice and say, oh, let's just give him a chance? No, his administration must be brought to its knees. And the number one way to do it is their ego. They cannot handle people telling them that they are full of shit and pieces of shit. They can't handle that. And this is why he wants the media to be quiet. He wants the media to not report on them. He wants the media not to expose their ethics violations. He wants the media not to expose their attempt to suppress dissent, their attempt to silence the press. They don't want the media to do these things because they want to not only implement their policies, they want to control how they're perceived in public. And nobody wants that more than Donald Trump. Do we understand America? I would say we understand America enough to realize that you don't get a vacation. You will not get a single day of rest from the media exposing you for what you are, exposing what you're doing, exposing the problems with your policies, and reminding all of the voters who did not vote just how crappy your entire existence is, so that we can get them up to come vote your ass so you can be homeless in 4 years. I do want you guys to have the wet dream of Ayn Rand, who died alone, damn near homeless, taking assistance from the government. I wish for you exactly what you wish for us. Nothing more, nothing less. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, this is Brianna.
Hey, Brianna, what's on your mind?
Nothing. I agree with everybody who has called before, and I agree with you about Trump has to be stopped. Like, this is really scary stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm only 21, so I mean, like,
it's just getting started. This is not even a week
started. We got.
It's not even a full week yet.
Yeah, it's just a full week. And one thing that's also, let me go off a little track from Steve Bannon real quick, was also ticking me off is about the conservatives keep calling the Democrat Party of today and people like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, socialist, Marxist, radical left. When they're downright center right.
Yeah.
They're establishment.
Yeah.
And I say to that, like, okay, so go ahead.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay. And one thing I got to say, we have to, if they want to see some radical left people, we have to bring out our Marxists, we have to bring out our communists, we have to bring out our Democratic Socialists. If they want to see some radical leftists, we bring those people out and vote and get them elected.
Absolutely.
Because we have to put up with their radical right-wing bullshit for the last, 8 years?
Yeah.
They already got their radicals in. It's time to get our radicals in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Damn right. I want to stop you there because let me stop you there because you just said something that is super important. We're still arguing and litigating on the left whether or not it's okay for people to be socialists and Marxists. Meanwhile, their radicals are sitting in the White House. Brianna, that's the comment of the night. While we debate whether it's okay to actually entertain communists and socialists and Marxists, and we're having this philosophical debate amongst the left, their extreme right-wing fascist economic extremists are in the White House right now. So why the hell are we even talking about it? We're talking about it partly because your establishment Democrats are just as afraid of Marxists as establishment Republicans. But we're no longer even dealing with establishment Republicans. We're dealing with the extreme of the establishment Republicans. So if Democrats can't handle it, I know some comrades who can. So, and this is what I meant with the one caller. I agree with you for the most part. This infighting, I don't really have time for the infighting, except for this one caveat. If they cannot resist Trump, I know some comrades who can. So resist or get the hell out the way. That's as good a spot as any.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
It's Ben Dixon!
If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
I'm not done yet. I thought I was done, but I'm not done yet. Stick around. Call to action. When I said we have to do more, starting next week, every issue that we bring to you that's a problem, we're going to give you a call to action of what you can do to address that problem. That's my commitment to you. Every single thing that we present to you from now on that is a problem from the Trump administration, we're going to give you tangible steps that you can take, you and the people that you love and the people that you march with, what you can do to not only resist, but to take definitive steps to take down this insane, rabidly conservative madness that is Donald Trump, that is Paul Ryan, that is Steve Bannon, that is Reince Priebus. It is not enough for us to analyze the problem. We've got to take up our boots and get boots on the ground. And so every night, every time we talk and have a conversation, there's got to be a call to action. Let's do this one more time.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
It's Ben Dixon!
If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.